Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode number 2 of the BGE Hot Drop.
Hello everyone, it is your host Grim Reaper live from my studios here in Death Valley, and as Shaq said, we're joined by Kids TTV tonight on episode 2 of the Hot Drop. We have a lot to cover this week. Week 1 of BGE Season 3 is in the books.
Yeah.
We had some highs, we had some lows. We're going to cover who we thought was the biggest winner, who we thought was the biggest loser. Little controversy in this BGE Week 1 that we'll cover. And who the current MVP is, any surprises we saw, if we have any prediction changes from what we said last week to this week as who's going to win it all. And with that being said, we're going to jump right in. So, question to you guys. Who do you think is the biggest winner this week? Let's start with Shocks.
To me, the biggest winner this week, it's got to be, for me, Torch. I think Torch is the biggest winner this week, simply because not have them as a top 5 team. I had them coming out of their group, but I was not expecting them to dominate the way they did, at least for day 2. They won 3 out of 5 games or something like that. So my biggest winner, Torch for sure. And I did even a little light the torch for you guys. So I say Torch for me.
Kids?
Know what? The biggest winner for me out of all the groups that that I was able to watch and observe, I'm gonna go with Skyline. They're blowing everybody out right now. The closest team to them is still about 21 points behind them in all the brackets combined. Even their brothers from overseas, the EU team. So Skyline's just blowing everybody out. They got great chemistry going on, great teamwork. Everything's clicking for them. So that's my biggest winner for week 1 right there.
Love it. Who do you got, Grim?
For me, I'm going to have to kind of agree with Kids here on this one. But I'm going to combine both of them together. Both Skyline groups. Both are dominating their divisions themselves. Skyline NA, 131 points. Next closest team in their division is at 82.
Boom.
All right, question 2 to you guys. Who do you think is the biggest loser this week? And let's start with Kids on this one.
So my biggest loser this week is I'm definitely going to go with High Rise Esports. They're currently sitting dead last in that group. I was not expecting that from them because they have some seasoned players, Benny, Rogue, Fitty. But, I haven't seen nothing out of them. So far, my biggest loser after week 1 is definitely going to be High Rise Esports.
Yeah, they definitely were not where I expected them to be, for sure. But for me, I would say my biggest loser personally would have to be Denial Esports. That's a team that, me personally, I thought that was going to just be doing a lot better. We were in parties with Sav, and he's, we're doing 2D replays. They're getting their scouting on. They're learning drop spots and stuff like that. So I know they're putting in the work in terms of like the homework that's needed to do to be a good team. But I don't know, maybe it's zones, maybe it's bad positioning, maybe it's just losing gunfights. I don't know what it is.
For me, though, I have to say my biggest
Loser?
disappointment would be Off in Church out of the Delta Division. I expected them, I had them picked as a top 4 in my bracket, and they are sitting in the 6th position in their group right now with 29 points. They are about 14 points out of 5th and just under 30 points out of 4th. So, they can still make it up, but they just didn't really seem to have the chemistry like I expected them to have, being a team that's played together. Carnage, as I touched when I went over the scores, is sitting in last place in the Charlie division with 0 points. Reason being is they did not save their VODs from the weekend, so any and all points that they accrued from Friday and Saturday in week 1 have been null and voided, and they start back at 0. All teams are required to stream at least one person and save all VODs so they can be reviewed if needed, and they could not produce any VODs. So essentially they got DQ'd for week 1. So they are the team technically in last place, but which for them that kind of hurts because they had 78 points and they would be third in their division before we DQ'd them.
Jesus, 78 points is tough. I will say, all right, listen. The rules are the rules. Follow the rules. They're simple rules. One streamer. I always, in the past leagues, we used to always recommend 2 people stream per team, just so you don't have this problem. But unfortunately, they didn't have their VODs to save, and we gotta enforce the rules. If people are asking about the VODs, gotta enforce the rules, right? They are what they are, and it is what it is. And what do you think about, like, we were even tossing around possibly just, like, DQing them from the whole event, That could have been an option. Right now,
could have been,
yeah.
But I kind of like this way. They can still play. They still have the chance to make up points.
Yeah.
If they can perform well the next 2 weeks, because they really only have 2 weeks left to try and qualify now.
Yeah.
If they streamed both days and only had one VOD save, they would have just lost the points from that day. But they didn't have any VODs from either day, so they lost both days' points.
So
I kind of like that rule that if you don't have it for that day, those are the only days' points you lose.
So I'm kind of bounced off 2 different points here, but I agree with someone who does, that's always been a rule. The person I think can tonight was a seasoned player. Should have known this. That's my opinion on it. Seasoned player, he's been around for a very long time. So he should have known better. He should have said, hey, who's streaming, or I'll stream, or something like that along the lines. But it's unfortunate they're going to lose all their points. But to go off this second point, because I got my notes right here. Carnage did have 78 points, but Q3 and Hellfire, who are currently sitting third and fourth now, only had 29 points. So both those teams, just say they have the same type of week, and then Carnage pops back off with 78 points. Carnage is going to be right back into the fight of things, regardless, and I think they'll have plenty of time to catch back up, and I think they'll be back in the top 4, and that's where they'll finish. Unfortunately, it's because 78 points, unless they just have a really bad weekend. They're going to get that back, and they'll be back in the hunt for week 3.
Hell yeah. I mean, now you watch. He's always got a really good team. They should be able to, if there's any team that's going to be losing those points other than, like, your top 5 teams or something like that, they can definitely do it. It's going to be a fight, let's be honest here, and I think it's kind of scummy that we had to take the points away. It is what it is, but I think at the same time, hey, you should have recorded your VODs, and it is what it is. At least they get to play, compete. Hopefully we see them in the top 4 like it should be. But, I mean, we got to take them away, so it is what it is.
I think they'll come back with a chip on their shoulder. I think we might see a different thing we saw week 1, so who knows. But I think they'll come back. I think they'll finish qualifying, and I think they'll be in the top 4.
Do you think they're going to play, like, way more aggressive now, though? Like, we got to make up points, Or you think they're just going to play their game?
If I was them, I'd just play their game, because... I mean, to Kid's point, they had 78 points week 1. If they do that week 2, and Hellfire, who was the closest team to them, who now takes over that 4th spot, with 39 points, double that, it's 78 points, they'd be tied right there. Boom. So, I mean, just play your game like you did last week, and you should be fine.
Perfect. Love it, love it, love it.
Okay, so we've covered the biggest winner, the biggest loser, our DQ from this past weekend. Do you guys have any best plays or worst plays that stick out? Shocks, let's start with you.
I have the best play for sure for me is, I'm not sure what game it was. I think it was game 1 or game 2 of day 2. It was a 2v4 Torch versus the Mates. Mates came in on a hard push, just trying to finish off Torch, and Torch absolutely dropped them within seconds, like all of them. Boom, 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 boom. They all fell, and it was a big 2v4 win. I thought the Mates were going to destroy them, but it wasn't the case. Torch flipped that quick. It ended up being a 1v1 between Linka and some member of Torch. I can't remember off the top of my head, but Linka ended up losing his ones. Linka, you got to win your ones, bud. 4v2 situation, Torch versus the mates. Who you got here?
Oh, mates. I mean, they're just going to hunt them down.
Exactly.
They're just going to hunt them.
Numbers advantage. Mates know they got the numbers. Torch probably not aware exactly how many players or how many teams are up right now. They know there's 2, and they know that there's 4 other players. They don't know if that's a whole squad, but it's definitely a whole squad. And they are absolutely hunting them. You see Paul and Ara, all of them just on a straight nosedive into them. Oh my god!
Oh my. This ain't a throw, is it?
1v1, the mates ran into an absolute buzzsaw.
Oh my god, Torch.
And it was a throw. Torch 2v4 taking out the mates. Mates running into an absolute buzzsaw.
The best team effort that I saw out of that Saturday that I watched, it has to go to Vig, because they were just popping off them first 2 games before anybody could touch them in game 4 and 5.
Yeah, the overall performance. How about you, Grims? Do you have any plays you like or what?
I actually am going to agree with kids on this one also. But just to make a correction there, Vig won 4 of the 5 games that night. So they just
and they're still not in first. Sheesh.
Yeah, and still not in first in their division. They're behind the Dub Hub by 13 points. So even taking 4 out of 5, they made up some ground there. But Dub Hub's still holding that top spot in their division. But they definitely were dominating. And I think the last game that they came in like a second or third, so they were close to taking the top spot, taking all 5, but they definitely showed out on Saturday night. Should be an interesting next couple weeks to finish it up here.
Yeah, I do have a biggest loser though, or biggest, or the worst moment for me.
Okay, what you got?
So look, I'm gonna show you guys the clip. WC's
What's this
gonna
guy
have.
doing? Why are you playing low?
Yeah, you got to be on the second floor. Yep, he's gonna win.
He's gonna win it. Gonna win it.
WC, what are they doing? What are we
He won
doing if you're WC?
Oh my god.
He even came down to the first floor and gave you the easiest opportunity to just wipe him out of there. And if you're WC, guys, this is a mistake. This is a blunder. Not impressed. Not impressed. We'll just say that. So,
Current MVP. Shocks, who do you got?
my current MVP, not going out. I don't know what the Twire overall thing is or whoever is that, but the eye test tells me Zality, Skyline. I think right now, as much as all these other players, the Ratatats of the world, get as much clout as they do, I think we should start putting Zality in the conversation as best player in the world. I think he's dominant. He had a really good snake job and then ended up getting a couple kills on one of the games on Erangel by himself. So I think Zality, to me, is the MVP. I think he's the reason why they're in first place. That's just my opinion. So shout out to the man Zal. MVP. MVP.
Kids, who you got?
Hey, look, I'm a hop on that Skyline boat as well.
Yep.
It's Baby Joey for me. He spams. I like that. He can control it. I tried watching their stream while I was sick, but the moments I did get clarity and whatnot, Baby Joey was always there in the fight. He was helping his team out, kind of giving ideas, whatnot, so on and so forth. But not too much on that for me, but my current MVP is definitely going to be Baby Joey for now.
Alrighty.
Discord
I
warrior.
am going to jump on the Skyline bandwagon, but I am going to go to the opposite Skyline. I'm going to go on the EU side, only because I had the privilege of having Skyline EU both days because they're in the Delta group, and I had Delta both days. So I am going to go to Avenger, who had great games. I'd say Avenger. Skyline Avenger.
Yep. I'm just saying because he's an EU guy. A lot of NA guys feel like, who?
AKA Solus.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just popped off. He had good, smart IQ plays in that, and very well-rounded play from him. So I'm gonna lean towards him. I will tell you this now, based on just looking it up. Your overall MVP currently off of T-Wire is actually Zalade.
See, that's why I know I like Twire. You know what I mean? They know what's up.
Your second guy is Avenger.
Okay.
And your third guy is Joey.
Oh, so we're all on the money, baby.
We're on point right now.
We're geniuses.
And then fourth, because they show you the top four, is Havoc from DubHub. So
there you
those
go.
are your
Shout out
top
Space
four
Havoc,
rated
IGL.
players coming out of T-Wire, with Zalade at 94 and Avenger, Joey, and Havoc all rated at 91. So we're all spot on, point on with who we think is at the top of the food chain right now.
See, we all got good eyes, guys. We know what we're talking about. I didn't even
All right.
look, so I had no idea. Like, really.
Nope. As we were talking, I was looking it up to see, just to see how close we were, and we were pretty spot on there. All right. So, who do you have as a surprise team? Kids, let's start with you on this one.
Shout out to 20 Squad North. As you know, Graham, we put together a lot of different good pieces together. They've been playing together, what, a week, 2 weeks now?
2 weeks. They got together the week before league, roughly, and have had about a week's worth of training to prep for this.
And the way that they came out in week one, currently sitting fourth. I had them as my bubble team. They're sitting, I ain't gonna say comfortably, but well into fourth place right now. And like my partner said, a whole week together before league, 4 days. And I was not expecting the chemistry to gel right away for them. So what they did week one, they are my surprise team, and I hope they can keep it up. So 20 Squad North, keep it up. You're doing great things. I hope to see you in the finals.
Nice.
Shocks?
For me, I don't think this is much of a surprise team. At least not for me, because I think I had them in my top 5 teams. But I'm going to have to say the DubHub. Like, I was not expecting them after week 1 to be in 3rd place. So, I mean, no offense. Even though I had them in my top 5, I knew they were going to be like, DubHub's going to be better at the end of the event is what I'm thinking. I was thinking top 5, like, when it shrinks down to 16 teams. I wasn't thinking DubHub top 3 when there's 32 teams battling it out. So DubHub to me is a surprise. I was going to expect them to be maybe first, second. I think I had them second in their grouping, but I was not expecting them to be in 3rd place overall. So I got to say the DubHub. Shout out Space Havoc. Shout out Bo. Shout out KW. Y'all already know what it is. Keep doing your thing.
For me, for my surprise team, I seem to sound like a broken record here, but
Skyline.
I'm gonna
No.
have to go with Kids and 20 Squad North.
That's just homerism, guys. Just so you guys, for the audience out there, they're both 20 Squad North guys, so they're just calling out their boys. Just keep going. Keep going.
But, to Kids' point, they've been together less than a week. We finalized that team on Tuesday before league started. And then Friday, I shuffled the roster again one last time to shuffle in a couple other pieces and take a couple out. A little reluctantly, but I did it just for the better of the team, and they have been going strong, and I expect some bigger things from them this weekend. Now that there's been One of the players on the team has upgraded his devices, and he popped off last night in a daily with 10 kills. So I'm
Stack
hoping.
cans.
Can.
I am hoping that will continue into league this coming weekend, and they can add to their lead. Like Kid says, it's not a dominating lead in that fourth position, but they are sitting with a 13-point advantage at the moment. So if they can add to that, that would be great. And I will also give a secondary shout out to Mischief Gaming. They are
Yeah.
my other surprise team. They're sitting in the fifth position in that D group at 42 points. And I've watched them in dailies, and they show that they can perform. They're just very inconsistent when they do.
Yeah.
They'll have a good game, and then they'll have a bunch of bad games. And they'll have a good game, then they'll have a bunch of bad games. So they were putting their pieces together this past weekend, and I think they got a second place one day, and they were top 5-6 teams a few games. So also shout out to them.
Yeah,
Give them an extra little props.
I just took a quick glance at the overall standings, and as that play-in team for the 17th team, I said they would be the 17th team, and they're sitting in 17th place. So I'm not saying I'm a genius, but close.
There you go.
Close.
You go. All right, so we've got biggest winner, biggest loser, DQ, best play, worst play, current MVP, surprise team. Final category of the broadcast. Who do you think is going to win it now?
We can cut this out. You skipped one.
What did I?
Outside looking in, who you think you'd make it?
Oh, I did. All right. So, rewind. All right, next category. Outside looking in. Who do you think is on the bubble? Who has the potential of getting in? Are you going to change your opinion from last week? Let's start with Shocks.
Yeah, as it sits right now in the standings, yes, my outside looking in, that's going to be a team that's going to be contending to possibly get into the top 16. Give me some of that carnage. Give me some of that 79 points, DQ'd, now you watch, comeback kings. I want to see the miracle, Cinderella story, carnage coming in to the top 16. They're going to make it. I feel it. I know it. It's going to happen.
Kids?
Hey, look, like I said last week in the very first episode, I said TV starts off slow. They started off slow. They're currently in 6th place in their grouping with 33 points. There's a lot of teams that are in that 5th and 6th place spots in their groupings that are all in the 30s. So I still have TV as my team on the outside looking in, and who can make it to that 17th spot. They can't start slow again. They had their slow like I knew they would and said they would, and they normally get their stuff together weeks 2, 3, and so on and so forth. So I'm sticking to that. I'm hoping week 2 and 3 they'll get their stuff together and they'll surprise somebody. So TV is my outside team looking in, and I do still believe after week 1 that they can still be that 17th team.
For me, this is going to come out of left field. It's going to be Afterthought.
Ooh, that is way out in left field. No
Ooh.
offense.
Who?
Our boys from, I believe they are from Hawaii.
Hawaii, baby. Aloha, brother.
They have been performing well in the dailies. They're playing more dailies. They signed up for our VIT program, so they are guaranteed, and they're signing up and playing just about every day to work on it, to better themselves in that. And I mean, right now they're sitting in the 5th position in the Bravo group, which I honestly was not putting them that high in that group. With 36 points, they're only 9 points out of that 4th position.
Shout out Koala.
Shout out to Koala and Rambo and them. So my outside looking in, potentially could be afterthought in the Bravo.
I kind of like that, to be honest. Like, I kind of like that one, man. That's a good one. Ooh,
And like I
outside the
was
box
saying,
thinking right there, Grims. I like it.
yeah, and I like where Grimm's thoughts come from. He's that team. There's a lot of teams. I'm gonna say it again. There's probably 15, maybe 20 teams that are all within that 30-point skill gap that are all fighting for that 5th and 6th spots, and to maybe make that last second push. So Afterthought is right there. They're in 5th with what, 36 points in the group, like Grim said.
I like it.
It's very doable. So any teams that are in those, high to low 30s, you have a fighting chance. You just have to figure it out. It's not too late. Play how you play and just keep fighting.
I like it. And they got the VIT program. So we're talking about practice. We're talking about not a game. Practice. And I like that. They're smart. They're going to be practicing a lot more guaranteed practice rounds. They can get 5, 6, tournaments in before they have to play the real deal. So that's smart.
Yes, and I mean, just looking at who's above them, DubHub and Vig, I expect them to be in without a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, they got BHE and Crazy Mob, and both those teams are kind of hit and miss at times.
Yeah.
So they potentially could sneak in there just based on that. I know I'm going to hear
But watch out, because the Now Esports only 6 points behind them, and that's Shox's boys to make that surprise push too. So that could go both ways.
That was my original pick right there.
I think the Bravo division will have an upset out of any of the divisions. I think it's going to be the Bravo division if it happens.
Okay.
Alrighty, and on to our final topic of the night. Who do you think is going to win it all based after week 1? Do you stick with your original guess, or are you changing it up? Kids, let's start with you.
I'm not switching a thing up. I'm sticking with my boys Skyline in first place currently right now. They're blowing away Group A. They're 49 points ahead of second place in their grouping. And like I said, everybody else that are in first place right now, it's within about a 21 to 22 point skill gap just between them being in first and the next overall second place in general in any grouping. And I'm going to go off a limb. First and second is going to be Skyline and Skyline EU. Skyline EU is going to come out in second place. That's it. But I'm sticking with my boys from Skyline right now until someone can prove me wrong.
You know who's going to prove you wrong? Big is going to prove you wrong. We already seen that they could do it. They already won 4 games in a row. You guys talked about it. 4 games in one night. Vig is still my pick to win it all. I'm going to be honest with you, though. I'll second-guessing myself a little bit, and I might still be second-guessing myself once it comes around. When we come around championship time, we got to remake these picks. We're going to see how it works, because I might be switching to GT. But for now, give me some of that big Vig. Respect the Skyline. Y'all are doing fantastic, whatever, you know what I mean? But Vig, they're going to be in first by the end of this whole thing. Watch. You watch.
No shot, man. No shot.
I'm going to abstain.
Oh, my God. There's no abstaining.
I'm not going to put myself out there.
You already know.
He's going to say 20 squad north.
No shot.
I will agree with both your choices.
Oh, here we go.
Just pick a lane, Grim. Pick a lane.
Okay. I'm going to go with GT.
Uh-oh. What? Why GT?
Only because we didn't touch on this throughout the whole podcast.
Yes.
The acquisition, the day of League of Quavo.
Yes.
Taking him from Vig, adding him to GT the day the league started. Everybody thought it was an April Fool's joke because we started April 1st and the tweet went out and everybody was like, ha, 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 ha. But it was not the case. It was real.
Right.
Quavo left Vig, joined GT, and started that night for them. So I expect them to only get better just because they got to build the chemistry up a little bit.
Right.
So I think GT will be the team standing tall at the end of this whole thing.
Yet Vig is still beating GT.
Yeah, so
Right now.
here's the thing. When I had made my pick, I
By
talked to
5
Professor
Only
about
by
it.
five.
Hey, look, still beating them.
Yeah, I talked to Prof about it, and I was like, man, we just made our picks, and you're going to do this to me? I picked Vig. But you know what? Vig don't need no Quavo. Vig don't need no Quavo. We got Kidzo. We got Sparky. We got Noxie. We got Pride. We don't need no Quavo. Come on now. So we'll see how it turns out. Hey, respect the Quavo, though.
They'll be in the championship rounds, but they ain't winning it, bro.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll find out next time when we do our recap show for week number 2 and our preview into week 3. So with that being said, I hopefully everybody enjoyed this episode of the BGE Hot Drop. We will catch you guys next time. Peace.
Adios.